Hey, everybody, welcome to the live Lunch and Learn. This is Scott Payne with SDP Solutions. I'm the CEO and founder of SDP. Excited to be with you guys today to walk you through some things that I am in love with the Shape system, the Shape platform. It's not even fair to call it a platform. There's so much that goes along with Shape. I'm looking around real quick. We have a couple of people joining from multiple platforms, so I'm just making sure that those are up and running. It looks like everything's good on this end, so we'll get started. So one of the cool things about the app that I'm using is that it gives you the ability, regardless of the platform that you're on, to submit questions and comments in that platform, and it will pop up for me here on the screen. So I would love to have anybody out there say hello and check in and let me know you're out there watching live. There's a bunch of people registered. I've already got a ton of questions that have come in that we're going to go through. But if you have any questions that you would like to ask live, feel free to do that, and I can pop here the question up on the screen itself. A couple of other things. I'm going to, again, be sharing my screen. I'm going to be zoomed in a little bit, going to zoom out a little bit on certain parts just so you can see a little bit better on the screen itself. And again, here, let me submit your questions in the chat. I've also thrown my email address up here as well. You can email that, but if you, again, put your questions in the chat of your respective device, and we will we'll get that going. Looks like we've got someone from LinkedIn. How's it going? They say, boom, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so we're going to jump right in. Again, I'll be looking for live questions. Let me jump over to the questions that I've received from you guys throughout some direct messages that I've received, as well as some emails. And I actually added one or two questions that have come up consistently on conversations that I've had with people that are looking at the solution as well. Went ahead and included those in there because I know that those are common questions that have come up as well. All right, let's jump right in. All right, let me share this and let me get my big head out of the way a little bit. All right, so first question, this actually came in through direct message on LinkedIn. It says, when I have to reach out to support with my current solution, it takes them 24 to 48 hours to get back to me. And then another 24 hours plus if I have a follow-up question. How does support work with Shape? So great question. Let's get that cleared off here. I want to point out a couple of things that I think are important for this part here. One is that Shape still has a support team, really, really good support team as far as getting back to you right away. I've actually been using Shape for close to a year, and as I've submitted my questions in through an email into the inbox, I get a response back right away with the ticket number, and then usually have a response back within a couple of minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how detailed the question might be. But here's the best part. A lot of the questions that people are going to have are going to be, how do I do these types of things? How do I add a new lead source? Or how do I create a new drip marketing campaign? And a lot of these questions, you don't really have time to wait 24 to 48 hours. Like if you're going to be doing this, I mean, again, I've been in those shoes before when I was a client of a large system. I needed answers right away. I needed it because I was ready to go right this second. One of the things that I've really, really, really like about the system now is that they've added an AI bot within the system itself. Now, there's a whole number of other things that I could show as it relates to this. Actually, I'm going to take a second to do that. I'm going to go to the settings page. You'll see that there are a ton of settings options as an administrator. And some of these pages that I go to, let's say I go to Shape IQ as an example. And you'll see there's a lot of stuff that I can set up and that I might need to pay attention to and know about, etc. Here, let's go actually to distribution rules, sorry. At the bottom of these pages, you'll see what I want to point out is this Get Help. And within the actual system itself, I can click on Get Help, and it will take me to a page specifically about how to set up distribution programs, including videos. It walks you through everything and then says, hey, by the way, you still need help, you can click here. But what they've added is the ability to use the AI bot that's down here. And this is the support AI bot. So if I come in, and you'll see I've asked a bunch of questions already. But if I say, how do I set up a new lead source, question mark, you'll see that it starts giving me step-by-step instructions on how to set this up. And what's cool is that it stays embedded in each page that I go to. So that as I go into the settings and then go into marketing sources, this page stays fresh and it will tell me step-by-step what I need to do. Again, I think this is super innovative. They've taken, I want to say, I don't remember the number, over 1,000 support cases in the past to build this library of commonly asked questions with detailed instructions on how to do it. And it gives it to you right there at your fingertips, and allows you to really drill into any other questions you might have along the way without having to wait for that time frame. So I think it's a really key component, especially when you're an administrator of the system or you're running this for multiple people. Time is of the essence. You don't have 24 to 48 hours to wait for a response on how to get something done in the system. Shape does it really well, and they're constantly thinking about things like this to help innovate and make things easier and better. So again, that was one of the questions we got out of my direct messages. I'm looking for any other comments that have come in. Looks like we're still good there. Let's jump over to the next one. What are 2 to 3 of your favorite features that other systems you work with don't have? So there's a lot. Let me focus on, I think probably the one that I go to the most, or the 2 I go to the most, is the ability to have a lead in multiple statuses and to have a lead assigned to multiple users. And so I'm going to jump over to my priority view page, which we'll take a quick look at together here. In this page here, I have the ability to see all of the leads that are important that need to be called right now. They're set up in a way that allow you to configure what are those most important things and what are the rules around those. The idea is that we want salespeople to come to this list and not spend any time thinking about what to do next. We literally want them to focus on the top 1 or 2 or 3 things, typically the top thing, but we want to give them some flexibility and options. We have the ability to do that. We want them to focus on the top thing and work their way down through the list. So as they work through that lead, once they're done and they need to figure out what to do next, they simply go back to this list and they work the next lead in the list. It's going to be ordered and sorted in the way that it's going to convert the highest, again, save them time throughout the day. But as we go into the lead record, you'll see here that this is a status. This is the regular kind of status that you would see in most systems, but Shape takes it further because each lead can be in multiple statuses. Okay, and there's a lot of examples of where this really fits in into play. I'm going to go through 2 of them real quick. One of them is that I might have an example where a customer, I have a lead, and through my drip marketing, the customer has clicked on the apply now link in an email and they've started an application. Now, this is just a customer that I've simply just emailed to this point and they have not responded. But they got the email and they clicked apply now and they went. Now my status on my side might be contact attempt or attempting contact because I've tried once or twice. And so the status would be attempting contact. That's what it is. But if they go complete an application or start an application in my portal, my 1003 portal, and they start an application there, I want the status to change, but I also kind of want to know that I'm still attempting to make contact with them. I don't want the status just to change to application started. When I go look at reporting, it's going to be tough to tell, like, okay, well, have we talked to them yet or have we not? I don't know. It's tough. The status is in this example would be they just started an application. But with the ability to have multiple statuses, as I treat this open for everyone to see, you'll see that I have my status. In this case, it's missed appointment rescheduled. Callback status I'll come back to in a second, but each of the different status groups here allow me to set up different statuses that don't affect, again, the other statuses unless we want it to. And so let's go to the portal status. So let's say that in this case, the customer, we've sent the link to them. Maybe it was through an email or what have you. And let's say that they got to the registration screen and they've completed that portion of it. Once that's done, they get all the way through application completed. I'm going to change the status to that. And you'll see now that the lead is in multiple status. It is in the missed appointment rescheduled, and it's also in the application completed portal status. From a workflow perspective, there will be situations where I might want to then generate a phone call right away to someone who has just completed their application when I know that we have, in this case, a missed appointment, or maybe that we're still attempting contact. If we've already made contact and it hits application complete, I might not want to generate a call right away because we know that the customer, we already talked to them, we walked them through, we made contact, we walked them through what to do and what the next steps were after the application was complete. So the ability for me to have two statuses here really allows you to take it to the next level. When you're stuck with one status, you got to look at different things. You can't really trust the data. It's really tough to tell. But in this case, I can clearly tell you that this is a customer who has missed an appointment, is rescheduled, or the example we talked about, attempting contact. I'm still trying to reach them, but they've completed an application. What it also tells me down the road, by the way, is the ability to report on that. Like how many people are filling out applications without having to talk to someone? That's an important stat to know, because I might be able to leverage that better in my marketing down the road to try to drive people to complete applications because that's working. And maybe I don't need to spend all of the time and effort on the phone calls down the road. All kinds of ideas you can come up with now, these multiple statuses. My favorite multiple status one that I'm going to try to show you as best I can. Let me just kind of talk through what this one looks like. And I'll give you a quick story about this one first. As I travel the road and I go sit with clients and I sit with a end user and I watch them interact and use the system, I always like to sit and kind of look around their desk. What do they have hanging up at their desk? What are they looking at each and every day? What scripts, what motivational stuff do they have? I always write this stuff down. And what I always try to look at as well is their voicemail light on their phone blinking? And I would say 95 to 98% of the time, every salesperson I sit with has their voicemail little light turned on, meaning they have a voicemail sitting there. Now, I ask the sales organizations as we do our recaps, like, how do you guys track with voicemails? Are they following up with their leads? Are they following up with these callbacks they've gotten? And they have no visibility into this. It's wild. What Shape now gives us the ability to do goes like this. When a lead or call comes into the system, I haven't got into the phone system part of this. It's mind-blowing, the functionality that you can set up from a phone system capabilities within Shape itself. You don't even need another system. You can use the web phone portion and have exactly what you need. Save a ton of money, by the way. With this status, the ability to take an inbound call, because we are routing that to an actual user. We know, again, the system is taking this call. We're routing it to this person. We also know the system would know when we've sent that call to a voicemail. And when we send the call to a voicemail, it, in my opinion, would be best to have visibility to that, to have a manager or even the loan officer, for that matter, be able to easily see where this voicemail might be sitting, who's it with. And so what we do is the system says, when we send it to voicemail, we're actually going to change a status. There's a status group here that I've created called callback status. And there are two options within this. There's either called back, meaning that if there was ever a missed call and we've called them back, the status would say this. If it was blank, then it simply means that the customer has never called us or has never gone to a missed call status, never gotten to a missed call scenario. We've answered the phone every time. But right here, if we send it to voicemail, the system is automatically going to change this status to missed call automatically. And now, regardless of the application completed status stays the same. The uncontacted status stays the same. And here now we have a missed call from the consumer, and we're going to change the status for this callback status to missed call. So now we have three statuses, and all three are super important for us to know. What's great about the missed call, again, I can give visibility to a manager to be able to see how many missed calls are out there for his team today. I might be able to leverage this if they have an assistant or someone who maybe that goes into the priority view to then listen to the voicemail and then call the customer back based on whatever rules. I can again mention the reporting, but I also can show it, like to say, in the priority view. So in that priority view we just looked at a second ago, the highest priority might be getting those leads that are showing leads where there has been a missed call. Super important for me to know that. I might have 5 missed calls and I need to look at those and determine, well, I know this one's a little further in the funnel. I can probably wait to call them back for a second. But this lead says uncontacted, they've completed an application and I just missed a call. That better be the most important thing that I do right now. And so the ability to be able to report that without affecting all the other statuses is such a game changer. Now, even better. A lot of people who are going to be watching this are going to know, well, it's so difficult to get my salespeople to click a button every time to tell us that they've called someone back, or they do it from their mobile app, or they do it from, and it's just tough to get them to actually document that this has happened. Better yet, here's what Shape does. When we place a call back to a phone number that's on the lead record, it's a triggerable, is a reportable type of event where we essentially have tried to connect to a phone number. When that happens, when we have moved to a connected phone status on a lead record, we look at that status and say, does it say missed call? If so, change it to called back. Automatically, simply by me just making the phone call back to the customer after they've left a voicemail, can change the status, and therefore it will update the reports. It updates my priority view. It updates all of the reporting that we might need and built around this to show that we don't have this missed call anymore and it's been handled. I think this is one of the biggest opportunities for those people who have multiple inbound calls, multiple outbound calls, all of the different scenarios where they're involved throughout the process. To be able to have this buttoned up is a huge, huge win that's going to change businesses, in my opinion. So that's one of the, I guess, one of the 2 or 3. The other component with this, and I talked about having an assistant or having someone else that's involved with that process that we just talked about there. But as I open up this user section here, you'll see that I can have multiple people assigned to the lead record. Okay. Again, this most commonly would be seen when you have a loan officer or a salesperson who has an assistant. In mortgage world, for those that are non-mortgage, in mortgage world, you have the loan officer, the salesperson, and then you have what we call an LOA, a loan officer assistant, who is assisting them with multiple things. Now, in other systems we worked with, this has always been a challenge to try to figure out how do we get and leverage multiple people on the same lead record. And it is near impossible to figure out and keep working at scale. But with this system, it gives you the ability to have leads be automatically distributed, assigned based on certain things to go, maybe at the right step in the process, an LOA needs to be assigned, what have you. It can be done right within the system itself. So in this case, Matthew Smith is the loan officer. And then I could say that Connie is going to be now the LOA. Okay, well, why is this important? Well, there are going to be certain steps within the workflow that I need Matthew to do something. And there's going to be certain things where I need Connie to do something. Or maybe it's just simply that I want Connie to help out when Matthew gets behind. What if Matthew calls in sick today? What's going to happen to his lead records? What's going to happen to his follow-up attempts, to his appointments that he has that day? Well, I need Connie to have visibility into that very easily so that she could step in for that right away. There's also really cool ways to build this into the process where we can say that at this point in the process, Connie shows in her priority view and it goes out from her. And then maybe at a certain process, Connie kind of takes over for a second before it goes to, let's say, processing. Then I can have my emails at that point have Connie's name, or an automated text use Connie's phone number versus Matthew. The possibilities are really endless here. The ability to have that has been such a needed thing with a lot of the organizations we work with, and we just have not been able to solve for it. And now we can with Shape. It's not just that loan officer. You could have, processors. We've talked to some organizations about having their processors in the system as well, so that the system can tell the processor what is the most important thing for them to do right now, versus waiting, hoping that they are going to be able to figure that part out in their LOS. So lots of possibilities here as well. I'm going to jump in. Looks like we have some questions coming in. Let's see, there's quite a few here. Let's see. Oh, good question here. So LinkedIn user would you use lead scoring to prioritize your call list in a way that includes missed calls? And I think that's a great point. So we haven't gone into that. I guess I kind of showed the Shape IQ portion of it. But for those that aren't familiar, Shape IQ gives you the ability to score your leads based on criteria that is associated with the lead. So as an example, we're looking at things, in this example here, where it's loan purpose, loan type, LTV, have they declared bankruptcy, any of the questions that you might be able to gather at some point throughout the process, or maybe on lead intake, you'll be able to use that to then score the lead. And then that score can be used in multiple ways. And so the question related to missed calls. So if I have 5 missed calls, and they might be on lead records that I'm just reaching out to and I haven't made contact yet, we can then sort the priority view of those missed calls by the score itself. So you're focused on the highest converting missed call versus just the most recent missed call. And so as we look at the priority view, one of the columns in the priority view is Shape IQ score. And if we wanted to, we could sort again by that score to have each of these opportunities leveraged with the highest converting part there. So great question. Absolutely can be done. And it's a great idea, especially as you start getting into, multiple lead lists. I like the Shape IQ because it actually starts to learn over time. So a lot of challenges with companies that we work with about talking about lead scores, they get, well, how often do I need to update this? How often do I need to go back and relook at this and run this analysis again to understand what we're doing well and what we're not? The Shape IQ system learns for you and adjusts the scores for you accordingly. It also has a cool feature where users can upvote or downvote lead records as well based on what they see on the system itself. So you can use those into the score as well, that the users are saying they like these types of leads, or they're saying, hey, this lead isn't really working. So really, really powerful component, not just for prioritization. Then you get into workflows. And one of my favorite ones to use this was when we get to, let's say, the 5th contact attempt on a lead record, looking at that score at that moment and making a determination, do we want to make another 2 or 3 calls, or should we go ahead and just kick it to the nurture campaign and let that kind of work through itself? And so at that moment, at the time we hit that 5th attempt, we say, is the score above this? Okay, cool. We're going to move it to contact attempt 6, and we're going to wait and make another couple of attempts. If it's lower than this, and again, automatically kick it over to nurture and go that route. We can use the score in that capacity, which I think is really powerful as you try to figure out how to work your leads and how many attempts should you make, and is it worth it? The other component of lead score, I'm rambling now a little bit, but I think it's important to know as well that you can leverage interaction or engagement with your content. So if you're sending emails out, are people opening your emails? That's something we can score because we have the last date of the email opened. When was the last email opened? When was the last email clicked on a link? Maybe they're going to a landing page to learn more about your company. Those are powerful things to know, and we can leverage those in the score and then sort the priority views by those scores and then make determinations on workflow based on that score, all based on the engagement and the lead data that we might have. So I love this kind of stuff, as you might be able to tell. Let's go back to the questions here. So we talked about the multiple lead owner. We talked about multiple statuses. Are you able to use the mobile app to actually call leads? Great question. Let's go to my mobile app walkthrough. And what's so cool about this, about the mobile app and the ability to place phone calls from the system, is that most apps I've seen in the past, it might give you the phone number and it would essentially open up a window or open up a new call on your, let's say, iPhone, and just, hey, here's the number, boom, and now you're calling the lead record. There's no tie-in back to that lead record itself. And so there's no way to really report, did you actually call that record? I don't know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Most systems will give you the ability to maybe, document, take an action or change a status or what have you. But we don't know if you actually made a call. We don't know because it's not tied into it. And what's cool about the Shape mobile app is that you can actually put in your cell phone number. And when you go to call a lead record, the system is going to call you, connect you with essentially the Shape system, And then as soon as you pick up your phone, the call then goes out to that consumer. What this does is gives you the ability to track the phone call, how long it was. If you're recording calls, you could record the call as well. A lot of functionality here that doesn't really work on other systems. And by the way, I just thought of that missed call kind of component. Doesn't work if you're not using a mobile app like this. If you're using a mobile app where you just call from your phone, the system's not going to know that you called this person back who was waiting for a call back. And that status is going to stay in missed call. And so you're going to run into challenges there. So it makes it really easy for someone to jump into the system. This is just a kind of a setting they'll set up originally. So every time they go back to the app, they don't need to set it every time. But it really gives you the ability to place the phone call within the lead record itself, which gives you all of the tracking that's going to be super important to know. All right, looking through other questions. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for joining. How many times will you contact a lead before giving up? It's a great question. I get asked this all the time. And my answer is, it depends. It really does depend. It depends on a lot of different things based on the type of lead, the lead source, where did it come from? What does maybe the consumer expect? Because, I think what I'm finding a lot now is that, people are not really wanting a phone call. They want the text. They want a combination of the two. They eventually, and this is the important part a lot of people miss, they eventually want a phone call. It's just a matter of when. They want to talk to a human being still. It's not that they want to transact completely online. They want to get to a certain point once they've decided that they're ready to move forward. So essentially it gives them, you want them to have kind of a say in that process. Now you can ask them those questions up front, like what do you prefer, what have you. But sometimes you can't get that. You don't want to have this huge lead form and all of the stuff. So I think it's a good combination. Depends on the lead source, where it's coming from. I've seen people make 20 calls over a certain time period. I think the other key component with this is that you need to be calling the lead at the right time. Okay, what is the right time? There's no magic answer to the right time, but some things that I've learned over time in doing this is that a really good time to call the consumer is around the same time of the day that they originally inquired. Okay, if someone goes to a lead source or goes to a landing page and they submit their information, they want to call back. Essentially, let's say they're doing it at noon. They do it at noon, and at noon might be a good time for them because, hey, they had time to go online. They had time to do some research. They had time to hit submit. Might be a good time to call them around then. So how do we use that later on? Well, we might use that, day one. We want to call a couple times, usually on a lead if someone submitted. We want to get them on the phone as fast as possible. That's a key component of this as well. But not a lot of people answer their phone. A lot of people answer right away. So how do you use that strategically in day 3, day 5, day 7, day 10, day 30, day 90? How do you use that time of day? So what we would do is set it up to say that these are the leads. Let's say it's noon right now. These are the leads that inquired around, this is a key component here. These are the leads that inquired, let's say it's noon now. These are the leads that inquired around 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Why is that important? Why would it not just be noon? Well, people most likely do not just go online, find the first page and hit submit. Some might if they're kind of knowing what they're doing, but most people are going to be doing some research. And at the end of their research, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it might be, then they decide to actually submit their information to request a call. So we're going to use that strategically. So for those leads, let's say it's noon. At noon, I want to be calling the leads that inquired at 1 p.m. Again, these are people who have been doing some research online. I want to use that again strategically. So we set a lot of stuff up to follow up. A lot of people just say call 24 hours later, and I actually say call 23 hours later. So that we're calling an hour before that lead actually came in. So long story short, how many times should you contact a lead? It all depends. But if you do it strategically and you use things like the lead score to know when they're opening your emails and what time of the day they're reading your content, or they're going clicking on to get to your landing page, use that data strategically into your lead management system. We can help you set all of this up. That's the best part about all this. We can help you set it up so that your salespeople are optimized and you're maybe don't have to make as many contacts as everyone else because you're really thinking through that part of it. All right, we're going to spend about 10 to 15 more minutes on this version. I'm going to go and find some other questions. How does the system handle inbound calls? Can I route a call to multiple people? I mentioned that the phone system is built into the system itself. Absolutely can handle inbound calls. Inbound call will come in. It will look to see if there's a lead record that exists for that record already. If so, can try to match it to that lead record and deliver the call to the lead owners or lead owner, whoever it might be, if you have multiple owners. If it's just a brand new customer, you can decide how you want it to route, how many people can get it, how many people have access to it. The biggest part here is that it's creating a lead into the lead source in which the number is associated so that we can drive and track how effective our phone numbers are as we're doing our advertising that's out there. So be able to track, again, that component, but also the multiple people becomes important because I can write rules. And as I'm talking through this, I'm going to navigate over again to the settings, which, by the way, for those who are administrators for the system, you're going to love all of the different options you have as it relates to settings. But as I go to phone settings and inbound call routing, I want to show you just a couple things related to this. So I can have a voicemail and IVR, greetings, all of that stuff as well. But I want to show you this part here as it relates to rules. Oh, let me get rid of this banner here. Doesn't know. I don't know if it's going to show this pop-up here. Well, I'll read you the options from a call route setup. As far as routing to multiple people, here are the options for how you can route a call. You can route it to all available users within the system. You can route it to the assigned user. You can blast the phone call to a department. You can blast the call to a team. You can have it call a direct phone number. So if there's a certain phone number you want it just to route directly to, you do that. You could have it play a recording and then move to the next component, which would might be one of these options. You can round robin. So the blast would be notifying everyone. Round robin is going to choose one person, then move to the next person. You can do that from a department or a team as well. Or you could just say, I want to route to a specific user. I already had assigned user, but maybe I don't, maybe, at this point in the process, I want to go to a specific user. Now, all of these can be used in conjunction with one another. I could write a rule that said, I want to first try the assigned user, but if they're not available after 10 seconds, now I want to blast it to the department. Or I want to maybe try the all available users. If no one answers, then I want to send it to a direct number, which maybe is a third party that handles our overflow or what have you. All of that is functional here from a how long do you want it to route to each one, and gives you the flexibility really to handle your inbound calls any way that you would like. Really, really slick. And again, all of this stuff, as I mentioned, we can change the status. If there's a missed call, we send it to someone's voicemail. If we have to route an overflow to someone, we can flag that as well. There's so much capability in the system. To have it all built in is just mind-blowing to us right now. All right, let's see. Possible to integrate with Zoho CRM was the last question that came in from George. And so let me just show you a couple things as it relates to integrations. When people ask me if you can integrate with systems, as long as the system has an API, as long as the system has the ability to consume some type of post, Shape can do it. So you can use Zapier within Shape itself. If there's already an existing Zapier integration. So you see here, Zoho, lots of different Zoho stuff. And so we can connect Shape, and then we can decide what do we want to do. We want to update, add, all of the stuff. Just choose this. You'll see some possible popular shapes. So create records in Shape for new leads, create records in Shape for updated, etc. And then what's great about this solution is that you'll see in my hat SDP Solutions, my team, again, we're a third party that works with Shape. We help companies with things like this. When they want to integrate with the system, we help them with setting that up. So we have a team of people that can help you accomplish your goals as it relates to really anything integration wise. Great question. All right, looking through the rest of the questions here. What kind of reporting does this thing have? What kind of reporting does this thing have? Let's go to reports. What I love about Shape is that it gives really clean looked version of the different reports that we find to be popular right away. These are the most popular reports. But you also have the ability to save your custom reports, and you can build custom reports with getting the data in and out that you need. We have a lot of clients who will use the APIs to pull information out into their reporting systems. So we already have something using integration there. But if you want to be able to run things in real time, there's a lot of different options here as it relates to, again, the popular reports. But what I like is that, okay, I'm looking for stuff around reports around communications. So we have my call, different reports here, text, emails, compliance. Okay, I want some marketing reporting. I have all that here. User performance, contact record data. You see there's so many reports. That said, if there is a custom report that you need help building, and again, our team can help with that. And it might be something where we've done this already here at SDP, where the Shape team has said, hey, we're looking at building some new reports. What are reports that your clients are using today? And we give them a list, and we go through and actually build the reports into the system itself. So that's what I love about Shape. We're always innovating. There's always new releases coming out. If you need something, and you know it's within reason, like we can all look at it and try to figure out getting it built in. There's been many instances already where I've made a suggestion about this field or that field, and within a day or two it gets added. Phenomenal from that aspect. It's really, really good. Fun to be apart from that component. Let's see. Someone mentioned that they're using the system to handle tasks in a Kanban type of board. How does this work? All right, so let me go over to, this is something that I use pretty extensively for how I manage my stuff within Shape. So SDP Solutions, I'm using it to help manage my customers and my opportunities. As I move over to tasks, as you schedule tasks, there are some people who are more visual. They like to see and move things from left to right as it relates to their task. This Kanban board allows you to take the tasks that have been either you've created. The other cool part is that tasks can be created for you. So let's say that a LOA says that, hey, I talked to this customer and you need to follow up at this point in the process. They had some questions about this I can't answer. So you need to jump in and do that. So the LOA can create a task for me. And then it goes into my list of tasks, and I can set a date and time of when these things should be. But regardless, as it comes to this view, let's say that this one's in progress. I can essentially grab it and move it over like this. So maybe I called them back, it's now on hold, or maybe I've now completed that. And you'll see that this now moves the status of the task to completed. And I then have my kind of view from this point. So some people like this view. There are other people who are going to be more list oriented. So you can look at your task as it relates to the list as well. It's like a priority view for your task. I think is really cool. We can also automate tasks as well. So maybe there's certain points in the process where we know we want to create a task kind of right away, no matter what, we can do that as well. You know, from my perspective in the consultant hat, we want to look at those things. You don't want to automate too much, otherwise become very non-important if you're just creating multiple tasks for people to follow up on that don't apply to a lot of different stuff. Okay, let's see here. I think that's going to wrap us up for the day. I'm going to come back. I've gotten so many questions and comments that have come in that I haven't even got to yet. So I might jump on. I don't want this to be more than 45 minutes. Mention that one. All right. So I'm going to throw this link up here at the bottom as we wrap up. If you'd like to learn more about Shape, we'd love to spend some time with you on it. I'm going to pull up this page that you're seeing again on the bottom of the screen here. We'll share that as well for what you'll see on it. I haven't even got to so much stuff. It just crossed my mind that you have not seen and today you have not seen Lead Engine, Shape's newest product as it relates to getting leads and qualifying leads. We could spend I'm going to schedule another session in the next week or two to spend some time on Lead Engine. Might even bring a special guest along with us to go over Lead Engine component. This is what you'll see there at the bottom link. Will get you into the ability to schedule a demo. So if you'd like a demo, please submit your information there and we will reach out to you. You'll see there's a lot of benefits of going through with SDP Solutions as it relates to implementation fees and working directly with us. I have a direct line of communication with the CEO. Talk to him probably 3 times a day now, which is awesome. We really have built a great relationship around the innovation part of this. So use that to your advantage as you sign up for a demo. Would love to show you guys more and spend some more time with you guys in the system itself. For that, we're going to wrap up today. Thanks again for everyone joining. Really appreciate you being part of this journey with us. Hopefully you're seeing some things that are resonating, things that could really help you out. Let us know if we can show you more of the system, and would love to spend the time with you. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for joining.